Hi, everyone. We are here today to share some exciting recapping of our weekend, and we wanted to do it quickly while we were still fresh. And it's always like when you come back from something like we just did for our Ruby retreat, you're like on a high, and you're like, oh, I would like to share everything, and I don't even know where to start. But we have some amazing things that we all took away. Melinda and Sarah are here with me because we all went together. And I would love to hear what their takeaways are. And then I'm just going to fill in the blanks a little bit along the way of what I loved and what we did. So, Sarah, what was your favorite? What did you take away? I know we had a blast, but I would love to hear from you.
Yes, we did. Oh my gosh, you guys, you will just never be the same once you go. I love them. The training was phenomenal. Like two of the most amazing speakers. And I mean, the things they gave us were like, I don't know, I'm still thinking on it. And it's going to be so good. So here's a few tips Sonia spoke about. Helen and Sonia both so good. I mean, it's so hard to pick a few, but I'm going to tell you a few. Sonia said that sometimes we just simply talk too much. We talk ourselves out of success. That's what she said. And she said, we need to just be silent sometime. And then there was questions and answers being asked in the crowd. And the one lady asked, what would be five things that you could say, or what would be something you could recommend, not five. And then she said, well, I have five things that I will give you what I base everything on, that she goes on. So I'm going to read them out to you as well. And so she said, observation, and you tweak. And then you ask, tell me more. Or you ask, are you open? And help me understand that better, like when someone's maybe in a complicated situation. And the fifth one, she says, tell me what your day looks like. Because sometimes people just want to use the word, they're too busy. But she said, you can always ask, what does your day look like? So the biggest thing is always to listen and ask questions. I learned so much because I need to listen more, because when you listen, you hear their needs. You hear them saying, it's not you talking for them. It's not you answering for them. They are answering and you're just listening. That would be a little bit. And I'm serious, you guys, work, because that was like the best retreat ever. And we had 4 women in a room. And on us, it worked smooth. It was like bizarre. Usually it can get a little complicated. 4 in a room, we had it down pat. It was a system, and we did it. Okay, there's mine.
I love that. I could add so much to that, but I totally agree. I missed one thing. I was going to back up a little bit and share a little bit what the outline of our weekend looked like. So we got there on Thursday, and it was just mix and mingle. This is something that I love about having Plexus events, because our whole goal is to expose ourselves to other leaders, to get to know other leaders, to link arms with sidelines. This is our one Plexus. This is why we get to do these things. And then I want to tell you that this was not funded by corporate at all. This whole retreat to the Omnia at the Montelecio was funded by our personal diamonds from in their pockets. And you're probably thinking like, well, why? Because they want to see us succeed. And every one of those diamonds is always going to tell you that a ruby is a mini jewel. A ruby is a mini jewel because you have achieved that rank, you are a leader, and you're already leading a pack towards that position as well. The diamonds know that having the extra support come alongside and showing these leaders of where to step next is going to be our success. And that is what Plexus is about. So we arrived Thursday. Everybody's always so excited to see each other because you get to learn to, know these friends, and you meet them like 3 or 4 times a year. We're always so excited to connect again. The thing that always gets me is how these relationships are the heartbeat of our company. And I will never, ever take time to run down a different company or a different product or anything like that. But this is super, super rare. And I actually did write it down because Helen McFadden talked about it. She said, everything about Plexus is rare. It's so rare to have this in a company. And that we need to share that and to build that belief, because when we say Plexus is different, we're not just saying it. There's so many aspects of that Plexus is rare that we can fall back on, that it's different than anyone else. So relationships. Thursday night was just spent connecting and having fun. Friday morning we got up and beautiful breakfast that the hotel had put on for us. We gathered in a huge, amazing, beautiful room, did some pictures. We had a personal photographer there that Kristen had hired. You're probably seeing all these gorgeous headshots. We all did a bunch of pictures, and then we sat down to Helen and Sonia. Okay, so if you guys don't know Helen and Sonia, they're like the mothers to our diamonds. They started pretty much with nothing. They started with Sheila Medina, a pink drink packet that didn't have a name yet, and they just started sharing out of their hearts and because of the road that they had been on. And I loved what Sonia said when she shared her story. She shared that she had gone emerald in 6 months, diamond in, I think, 14 months, just like a fast climb to the top. And she said, guys, that's not true. That's not true. I went diamond in 20 years because she spent 17 plus years in different network marketing companies, growing herself, doing the personal growth, doing the failing and learning and getting back up, right? And that stood out to me so much because they shared a little bit about their company, of where they had been previously and how they had never made more than a senior ruby income. They had walked away with a 6-figure debt, not profit, but debt. And when they had come to Plexus and seen what it was, they never quit sharing, and they have changed thousands of lives. Okay, I'm going to stop there a little bit because I want to hear a little bit from Melinda. Guys, interrupt and put your thoughts in wherever you want to, because I know that once I get started, I'm just like, go ahead, Melinda.
Okay, so for me, one of my goals in going to Ruby Retreat was to interact with some of the other rubies and up, like the senior rubies, the sapphires, and the diamonds, and just kind of getting to know some of them and letting their energy rub off on me and start more momentum for myself and for my team. I know that momentum is where it is and where it happens. And a big thing that they talked about was drawing the line in the sand about for you and your business, and what does it mean to draw that line in the sand. And it doesn't, no matter what kind of decisions other people on your team make, you need to remain steady. You need to be the person who is steady, because your business is going to be what you do. And becoming aware of times that things get difficult, those are the times that we need to embrace and we need to move forward. And even if it's difficult, sometimes you need to maybe take a small rest, but don't quit. Keep on going. And the challenges will be there. There will always be challenges. But they don't affect our mindset. Our mindset is what's going to impact the challenges. It's whether, our mindset is going to determine whether we're going to face that challenge head on or whether we're going to back away from it. And so we need to keep our mindset strong and just, dive into those challenges. And because we can never leave ourselves and our mindset, it's always there. And once you make a decision, just go with it. Do it. What drives our success is our decision. And we are in charge of what people feel about us, and we're in charge of our own energy. So we need to just keep building on that energy, keep building and stay focused on our decision to keep going. And the person you can really count on is yourself. So you need to always remember that and decide to still be successful, because when you decide that you'll be successful, you will be. So those are my takeaways. It was incredible. When I first started Plexus, I never believed that I would ever become a Ruby. I thought to myself, oh, if I reach gold, you know, I'll be doing really good. But here I am, because I decided. And I kept going. I didn't quit. And that's just something I want to encourage you with, because now I know that it's possible for me to become a diamond.
Oh, I love that. I love that, because that was exactly what I was just reading. People are drawn to a long-term vision, right? And you're the only one, you're the only one that can choose to believe in yourself. And without you believing in yourself, you will not see that long-term vision. You need to have that long-term vision, right? And then one of the ladies asked, what are you wearing in your diamond dock? Do you see yourself there? Do you see what is going to be happening in your life, and how many lives that you will have had the ability to help be a part of that change by the time you get there, right? And then another thing that I really loved was don't block others from receiving what you have coming, right? Don't allow the people that don't believe what you're doing to be what is holding you back. It will be your belief and your choice. So I'm going to go over some of these little quotes and sayings that they shared, because a lot of them were not phenomenal things. They were probably things we have heard previously. But talk, feel, speak, and think of how it will be for your goal. Feel that and see the expressions and feel the emotions of what it will feel like once you get there, right? So envision it and have those affirmations in your, like Sarah said, like in your mind. Speak that, because that is what's going to make it happen. That's going to help you block those negative thoughts. And then the energy that you guys talked about, a big thing that they shared was, why risk your all when you can lose it all? Don't be that risk thinker. Don't be thinking on those doubts and those negative thoughts about yourself. Invest in yourself. Push through that growth that is hard, and know that at the end of that, the growth and the hard times are going to be worth far more than what you can even imagine. Okay, so Friday, we had the training in the morning, and I could go on about that forever. A big thing was an abundance mentality, because a poverty mindset is always going to stop belief. It's going to stop action. It's going to feed your self-doubt. It's going to feed negativity. We need to flip that around and create that abundance thinking. Create abundance in what you think about yourself. Create abundance in your belief in yourself. Create abundance in your action of what you're doing. And all those things are going to create that momentum that Melinda talked about. And then Friday afternoon, we all jumped in Uber cars, a whole bunch of us, 80, almost 90 people, I think. It was a wonderful size of a group. It wasn't too big that we didn't know where the group was. It wasn't too small that it was awkward. I thought it was just perfect. I thought it was just like so well done. And then we all went down to headquarters for the afternoon. And so many of us hadn't been there yet. For me, this was probably, I don't know, fifth, sixth time, I think. Every time I pull up on that yard and every time I walk in those doors, I'm just like overcome with the emotion and you can't put emotions into words that you feel sometimes. You feel the love, you feel the welcoming spirit. You see it in the eyes of the employees. It is so not uncommon to see people wiping tears and hugging and just being so grateful for being there. And so we met up with a bunch of the coaches, and we all got our tour. Us Canadians did some shopping in the store. Oh, that was fun. And then we got to tour the whole building, got a whole layout of just the feel of the people. And I want to share a little bit on, so we split into two groups. The one group went into the warehouse building across the street, and the other group stayed in the customer service offices, coaches building on the other side of the street. And on every Friday afternoon, they do a raffle draw. And so they all go down to customer service and they meet in that whole area, or they all go down to the warehouse stock area in the warehouse, and then they meet in that area, all those employees. Tarl and Alec go to either one. And so Melinda and Sarah ended up in the customer service area, and I ended up in the warehouse where I hadn't been before. So I felt like, oh, this is huge, because you know what? Without that warehouse and without those people that just daily come to work for us all the time, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't have what we have. And so I just want to share a quick little story, because the whole place was crying. And it's always crazy when that happens, because like I said, like those emotions, it's so hard to walk into a business and see that. And so we walked through all the processing, packaging, customer control, quality control, all those things. And they're so meticulously done. The one thing that stood out was, as we were walking and as the coach was asking questions of each employee, how long have you been here? What is your story? Who are you? Why are you here? You kept hearing, I've been here for 5 years. I've been here for 7 years. Guys, do you realize that Plexus really only started hitting like massive momentum, that they needed that staff about 5 years ago? These people don't leave. They are there because of the connection, because of the culture. And when we hear Sonia and Helen always say, culture eats strategy for lunch, yes, that is what happens, not just in our teams, not just in our groups on Facebook, but in the actual workplace, right? And so, long story short, I'm quickly going to get to the point. We ended up all in the warehouse in the very back corner, little raffle wheel. All the employees put their names into the spin thing, and then random people get picked to draw names. And as they're drawing the name, they needed to share who they were, how long they had been there, and what they were going to get their significant other or do for Valentine's Day. That was a thing in the warehouse. Fun little introduction thing. Tarl was there with us. And so they went through several names, some fun things happened. Just that you could just feel the vibe of all these guys that work in this warehouse. They were just high-fiving and cheering each other on and having jokes among them. You could feel that, right? You know when a place is happy, when people want to be there. And so Tarl said, hey, let's have one of the ambassadors pull out a name. And this one girl, I think her name was Kelly, she's like, hey! And up she went, totally excited. And she introduced herself. She was a Ruby ambassador, and told her story. And so she drew a name, and he was an older guy. And he came up and he was like totally serious. And so he shared his name. He'd also been there for quite some time. I forget exactly what the time was. And nobody really even, it didn't strike me when he introduced himself. Back he went to the place where he was standing behind us. We carried forward. Lori Welch shared a little bit of her story with Tarl. Tears were had, and then we were breaking up to leave. All the money had been given away, and they spin the wheel. They get $50, $100, a double, or $200. The money is just, and then Tarl went and grabbed like $300-400 out of his pocket cash, gave that away. It's just a fun incentive for the employees, right? It's a reward Friday. When we split to leave, this man came back to the ambassador, took the money, pressed it back into her hand. His chin was quivering. He was having tears run down his cheeks, and he said, I want you to have this. And she's like, oh my goodness, no, that's yours. And she started crying, and we just happened to be like right in front of them. And we were like, oh my goodness. And he said, without you, I would not have this. And literally, it's like it's choking me up because it was so emotional. He was so grateful that he had this job and that he was able to have a job with this kind of culture and this kind of reward. And she was just crying. His tears were running down his face, and they hugged. And she said, that's for you. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so grateful for you guys. And so I don't even know if he took the money back or not, or what they decided, but the emotion and the gratefulness was what we saw, right? It was the heart of the company. And so
it's like Tarl and Alec always say, if you're blessed, be a blessing. And that is exactly what he's playing out right there.
And you see that in action all around you. there would be like 1,000 examples around you of where you see that. You see that in the selflessness of the way that the diamonds catered to us this weekend. Like, you know, they don't have to do this. We can all go build this business without them doing this. We can all go build this business with just doing corporate events. They don't have to. They want to do that, right? They want to pass it on. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that story there because it was so touching. It was so rewarding. Friday night, we all went out for supper. Share a little bit what you guys loved on Saturday. Saturday was about coaching. And so I believe Tanya and Helen are just like the best coaches ever.
Yep. I loved how they said, leave the dead horses in the fields and run after the ponies. In other words, you know what? Sometimes we just need to move forward and be excited with them that want to work and keep working. And there was a lot of questions on that as well. And again, like they said, ask questions. Don't answer for them. Ask questions. So they spoke about so much. And what I loved the most is at the end, they invited all the diamonds up and the questions that they asked and all the diamonds shared. Wow. So you've seen all the different flavors of leaders because they all had different ways that they answered the questions. So that was huge. I don't know if that was, I know there was some that recorded it. I don't know if it's posted anywhere or not.
I think some of those small little iPhone videos are going to end up in Team Awesome. So take time to go and listen to those questions because, again, like the whole room was crying because there's so many different levels and different personalities that just shows you that this company is far and wide and anyone can do it. And when Brenda says anyone can do this and she's a family of 12 children, it's true. It's true. I'm going to share a little bit on what's the difference between a ruby and a jewel. And I loved how like this relates to Melinda saying, draw the line in the sand. This is for everyone, right? And so basically the difference between a ruby and a jewel was the work ethic, no excuses, the mindset issues, believing that you're worthy, to believe in yourself. Whatever you're telling yourself, change that. No excuses. Change happens then, and then attracting people that are better and stronger than you. It's never about you being the best. It's never about you being the one that does it all. It's always about coming alongside, right? To own your excuses, be very careful with the I ams and I can'ts. There isn't very many I am or I can'ts that you cannot change, right? And then grit. Brenda's word was grit, right? And then in the evening, we talked about this. Grit is very simple. It's just pushing through the hard things and doing it anyhow. Right? And sometimes that takes time. Sometimes that takes doing things that we don't want, but it's so very doable. So very doable. This business is simple. It's really simple. Change yourself because of the things that you are saying about the I am and I can't, right? And Wendy talked about, remember that level 2 of leadership, of where you're reaching down, where you're connecting and caring. Level 2 leadership and John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. If you haven't gone through that series, it is worth every minute. Absolutely. And then surround yourself with the doers. Surround yourself with the 5 people that are going to bring you up to that level and to be that support system alongside of yourself. Those were a few things that really, really stood out to me. The diamond panel questions again, if you get to see those little videos, please go watch them. It was worth every moment. Anything you guys want to touch on to recap and to end this up?
On Saturday, my stuff that I took away from that was our work isn't hard. We make it hard in our mind. Oh. It's our mindset that carries that through. And this is something that definitely spoke to me. And it's our responsibility to make our own system. Don't blame others. When you blame others, you sink your ship. It's your responsibility. And what can we do daily to be productive and then execute it daily? One thing that Helen McFadden said that also stood out to me was a quote she had was, live in the calling and in the creation that you were created to be. And so, yeah, that was just something that really stood out to me.
That's awesome. I love those takeaways. I remember them talking about the blame game, right? What was it? As soon as you play the blame game, your ship has sunk, like you said, something like that. It's incredible of how you see, and this is something that's been taught very strongly in our uplines and all the diamonds above us, that as soon as you hear and see blame, well, my upline this or my team this, it reflects off of you, right? And I love watching that positive affirmation from diamond, diamond, diamond up. You will never hear them not embracing the other people's strengths and drawing from those strengths. And so that's a huge example for us to take away from as well. And for me, like, I challenge myself daily to see the gratitude and to see the embracing of what we can do. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. I just love that I could go on forever. And I can't wait.
Me too.
This is something that that Heidi shared in Team Awesome and the takeaways, and I thought, yes, that's exactly what we should be saying. I'm just quickly going to grab it because it was so good. She said, first off, don't miss next year. Crush that Ruby goal before December 31st of this year. You can make it happen. It's not hard. It's simple. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.
See you.
See ya.